Fantastic. Good morning. What the hell is going on out there in the world today? I am Donald, aka Dolphied, on the Twitter and the Instagram and whatever hell else social media you got out there. And I am joined by Philip Pratt, the Pratt LP, also on any kind of social media you could find out there.
Yeah, good morning or good afternoon for my East Coasters.
Oh, shit. That's right. So, today, we're not going to bury the lead. We're going to talk about Gay Wolverine. We're going to talk about the history of Wolverine, what this kind of change could mean for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and some of the stuff. Let's just go into it. So, I'm going to share a screen here. Select screen or window. Boom. Alright, so you're all seeing that, hopefully. So we wrote that on a wonderful time last year. It seems like 20 years ago, on the 10th. It's last week, just joking. Anyway, I think we wrote something about this last year as well, but... good morning, Lopter, Demon King of Inferno. May your feet be filled with flame and your hands filled with lava. Anyway, so, we talked about this last week. Hercules coming into the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a film that's coming up pretty soon. What I noted from all of the reports that were coming out about this is they named... Oh, where is it? What the... Okay, so... Of the titles that they named that Hercules could show up in, they kind of ruled out Eternals, but not really. I think a lot of the Eternal stuff was still kind of up in the air because of, what was her name? Thena's relation to the Olympic gods, the Greek gods. And they might tie him in there or just give him like a little poke in the movie. What they could also do is...
Interesting choice of words.
Yeah. They could insert him into Loki.
Yeah,
probably at the back end there.
Another interesting choice of words.
Talks about Sarah, the female, or the male angel who identifies as a female. They also talk about introducing the character in She-Hulk and trying to tie in Amadeus Cho, the totally awesome Hulk.
Please no. Please no. No, please no.
Okay, what have you read on Amadeus Cho? Because I have read nothing about Amadeus Cho.
That's the all new, all different Marvel era that I kind of I would say stepped out on in terms of the rest of the Marvel universe. I was still trying to keep up with the X-Men, even though it was pretty horrible at that point too. Amadeus Cho was, I believe, an assistant to Bruce. I'm not sure if even Bruce Banner, or they just kind of wrote him into the story over the span of a couple of years, and then made him the Hulk. My knowledge base of him is about that. Other than he's a bro dude, and he's not the prototypical Hulk that we're used to, where he's all rage and not as intelligent. He's more akin to Professor Hulk, except as a teenager. He's a prodigy. He's part of that whole group with the new champions, with Teen Cyclops and goodness gracious, Teen Cyclops, Miss Marvel, the kid version of Nova, and Miles Morales. That entire era where Marvel didn't quite know how old their characters were at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
And put it this way, the only way they're going to bring Amadeus Cho into the MCU is if they're going to give the Hulk his own little corner of it. I mean, he's kind of a deep cut, and to make him part of it, you're going to have a movie where he's featured, where he gets all of this. You have to introduce a character, and then you got to put him through this paces of getting the power stuff. It'd be a lot. I'm hoping they don't go that route.
Well, if they do go that route, then here's the thing. Universal still has the rights to Hulk.
In
terms of film.
Distribution, right?
Yeah. So if they introduce Hulk, Amadeus Cho, does he also fall into the Universal?
Anything Hulk related, just like the X-Men. This is one of the reasons. Okay, this goes back to why the Marvel started pulling back so much on the X-Men in general. Anything that, let's go for the X-Men and how the contract worked with Fox. Anything related to X-Men was basically available for Fox to use in their films. This is why you saw the Marvel pulling back so much on the X-Men. They went from having, anywhere from 8 to 12 issues coming out every within the span of like 2 months, every 2 months or so, to like 2 or 3. They were protecting their franchise by lessening the amount of new material they were giving to Fox. Anything that came out and having to do with X-Men, Fox could use. This is why you started seeing the X-Men being merged with the Avengers so much, because you can't use these storylines. Fox could use these storylines if they're mixed up with the Avengers stuff, because it'd be impossible. This is also why you saw so much time travel involved with the X-Men from 2013 till like last year, when they started getting rid of all the time to space characters. Because to explain that stuff, they'd have to dedicate entire movies to explaining time travel, and then they were mixing some characters up, like the child that Storm and Black Panther had, the daughter. She popped up in as a prominent character in the X-Men for a while. They can't use that character. The time travel wouldn't make any sense in the Fox universe. So same way how that worked with the X-Men, that would also work with the Hulk. Anything that Marvel, I guess in reverse though, anything where Marvel does in terms of the Hulk, that's going to be a Hulk movie. But let's say if the movie's called The Incredible Hulk, they'd have to, give the distribution rights to Universal unless they find some way to buy them out completely. Now, if they take these characters and insert them into Avengers movies, they're free and clear, because they're not. It's not a Hulk title. It's just Hulk being used. So Universal has no claim over the movie.
And that's the same for series. So they could essentially give him his own Disney Plus series if they wanted.
I don't know how it works on TV. I just know there's no distribution. Distribution is different than on TV or streaming than film, practical film. But I'm assuming they don't. It's not the same thing on TV. I'm assuming. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because no, because they got She-Hulk.
You're right. So I don't know, and I haven't seen any Universal logoing around there or mentioned. So yeah, there you go.
So yeah, that was a tangent. But okay, so if they use Hercules to bring in Amadeus Cho, that's a whole different.
Well, here's my thing.
Can of beans altogether.
You brought up She-Hulk, because She-Hulk and Hercules have a past relationship with each other, romantic wise.
Yeah, because he is bisexual.
Yeah, so I'm not sure the 616 version is bisexual. We know for sure that the Earth 12,025 was the 616. I don't recall him having interactions with males, but for sure he was getting it on with She-Hulk. It was pretty blatant. You can Google that. That's old school stuff. They were definitely in a relationship with each other.
Well, this comes to us from the Captain America hating CBR. Was it CBR or is it comicbook.com?
I think it was CBR.
Yeah, it was CBR. So the Captain America hating CBR. Here they talk about Hercules. They explore Hercules being bisexual in the comics. And I am not so much of a nerd because Hercules: Fall of an Avenger.
I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of it. A storyline called Assault on New Olympus from The Incredible Hercules. Also, never heard of it. The one they really talk about is Extreme
X-Men. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. By Mr. Greg Pak. Let's see. And then he talks about the relationship with Oka. Okay, so, and then they make the argument that he should be bisexual in the MCU.
Listen, when it comes to mythology, it's all kind of murky. And probably chances are, I'm pretty sure he was. So if they want to go on that, tangent, they could do that. But here's the thing about making a character in any format or platform. When you make a character homosexual, you run into a problem where are they just homosexual in name alone and there's nothing to show for it? If not, then you have to make another character homosexual, or create a character. And then you have to assume one thing. Does that character that you created or brought in going to be there forever? Is there going to be any turmoil? Are they going to break up? Is someone going to die? If that's the case, then you have to make another one to replace it. Otherwise, they're just gay or bisexual in name alone. And that's just pandering. So it depends on how they do it and what their reason for doing it is. Some people, fans, they just want to see it. No matter how much sense it makes, or if not, or not. Just like making the character, instead of developing a character, let's just change the character's race. It's like it's not really necessary because there's such a wealth out there. You don't really need to do that. But by doing this, especially with their sexual orientation, when you're changing it, you have to make it believable and you have to make it sustainable. So, how that would work in a movie, I don't know. A TV show, it's more flexible. You have more time. You have more hours. So,
and you would have to make it marketable.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our second point: the sexually fluid Wolverine. Now, oh gosh, so I don't know. There was a wonderful article. I think it was by Screen Rant. It was last year. It detailed all of the relationships that Wolverine has had. All of them. Women. Silver Fox. Mariko. Yuriko. Lady Deathstrike. Mystique. Storm. Just women down the line.
That one redhead with the Lupin powers. Yeah.
And, and Jean Grey.
The other redhead. Yes, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
multiple versions of Jean Grey, actually.
And now what everybody's talking about online, when this news of Hercules came up, was bisexual Wolverine.
Because of one instant. People understand. You gotta understand. People have to understand something about that.
One time.
That's an alternate universe. That's no better than a what if comic book. They want to base an entire franchise up. The possible center of a franchise on basis of one instance of one character from basically a what if story. That's I don't. Again, they are going to have a what if series on Disney Plus eventually. That might work more than let's focus our entire multi-billion-dollar franchise around this and let's just shoot and let's hope it works out. I don't know. That sounds chancy. I hope this is just people talking outside of their mouth and not something that they're actually considering for Wolverine. There are other characters out there. I mean, for goodness sake, what about North Star is one of my favorite characters. Why aren't they even trying to bring him up?
Yeah. The New Mutants. In the New Mutants, isn't there supposed to be a gay character?
Or two, actually.
Ron Sinclair.
There's supposed to be Wolfsbane and Danny Moonstar. And again, you have that issue again where you're making one character gay, so you got to make another character gay. So now almost half your cast is homosexual. So what do you do from now on? Are they always going to be together now? That you're kind of put yourself into a corner with that. So It's just, and it's unrealistic. So now you're saying that all homosexual couples are just rock solid. They're not like normal folk, where especially teenagers, because that's what they are in that movie. I mean, come on, that's not even realistic. And it's now you have to deal with that writing for, if let's say the it turned into a franchise, which it won't unless it makes a couple $1 billion. It's not going to turn into an ongoing, like a trilogy. That's not happening. That would be great. It's not going to happen. You're dealing. It doesn't make any sense in terms of being rational or real. It's possible, sure, but why go down there?
It's like, okay, but to that point too, when we talk about homosexual characters being introduced into a story, I'll just come out and say it, they can't market that shit in China.
No, it's not going to work out. Even though the reports say that almost half of the Chinese movie theaters are closing. So how is that going to affect box office going ahead, and how we as American producers look at filmmaking? Are we still going to focus on China and make half a movie there just for the heck of it, like they did with Transformers, just for no reason, half of it's in China?
Yeah, because they even portraying any kind of black people on their posters.
Oh yeah,
I think you saw it.
They're put to the back or erased. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Freaking Black Panther, they had to put him into a mask.
Yeah.
Pretty much hide his skin color, because I've seen their commercials. Have you seen the commercial where this I guess this Chinese lady, she's doing laundry, and then this black guy comes up and he's just a mess from his shirt down to his pants. She throws him into the washer, and then after the cycle is done, out comes a white man.
That was a Chinese commercial?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm just like, wow. And I'm a heterosexual male, but that black guy was pretty spot on looking.
Wow, that's special. That's like that soap commercial where the person would scrub their skin, and underneath was white skin. It's like, wow, we're just doing that, aren't we? Like who's in charge of your marketing, and why do they still have a job? It's like, wow.
So yeah, it's all pandering. If they do it, they're gonna do it like a split-second scene from whatever. Like, okay, and they're not gonna explain it. If they make it a huge part of the movie, like a huge part of their character development,
and that goes back to possible pandering.
Yeah.
Is the character gay just to be gay, or is there going to be a story behind it? And then it goes back to, yes, you're gonna have to market that. You're gonna have to create supporting characters, and then now the focus of the movie is no longer focused. It's blurry. You don't know what's going on anymore, what the movie's about. So,
which is why I think they scrapped that storyline for Tessa Thompson in Thor Ragnarok.
What was it?
She was supposed to be a bisexual in the movie, and then there was an inference that one of the other fellow Valkyries she was in a relationship with.
I think that was,
and that's why
they kind of hinted at that.
Yeah, they hinted at it, and that's the most they could do with any kind of relationship that's homosexual. They can only hint. So you think that's what they'll do, just to pander, to pander.
And if people are happy with that, then fine. But that goes back to what are you fighting for exactly? Do you want something that's actually developed out and makes sense, or do you just want scraps? Like, yeah, they might be gay. It's like that sounds insulting. Kind of like how they're doing with my boy Bishop and with the X-Men. They draw him as a black man. He's seen as a black man. They write him as a black man. But at some point down the line, up the stream, they retcon him as being Aboriginal. So it's and no one from Marvel is addressing that. It's like he's not a he's it's like you guys are you're writing him like this and you're dressing him like this and he's speaking the dialogue is obviously African American or that's the culture they're using, and he's not. The man's had dreads. The man's had a Caesar fade. I mean, he's got wicks. Right now he's got wicks right now. His hair is twisted up right now. It's like, come on, man. It's like it's insulting. It really is insulting. But it's all about pandering and whatnot, and there's no real substance behind this. And I'm not saying that a character can't be good and gay. I'm saying what is the focus of the character? Is that going to be the focus? Because if you insert that in, it's going to have to be. Otherwise, you're going to have some problems with that segment of the fan base. There's already issues with that going on in other in other franchises where people say you're just pandering. There's nothing really happening here. So
yeah, I agree. There's nothing happening with they're trying to push for an agenda, but when it comes down to it, they should just make the L word for mutants. If they're going to do any kind of pandering, that way you get that side of the conversation just over and done with. Oh, we got our fan service. Fantastic. We got some man-on-man meat going on the screen. I'm happy. Got my man Hercules eating some sausage on screen. That's great. But when you only hint at it, I don't think that side of the conversation is going to be happy with it. Because I know they were disappointed with what happened with Thor Ragnarok and Tessa Thompson's character.
But it goes back to how much time did they expect for that to be dedicated? She's a supporting character. And this supposedly happened thousands of years in the past, and that relationship had no real bearing on what's happening right now. All you can really do is suggest it. You can't really you can't dedicate a whole bunch of dialogue to it. It's gonna take away from where the focus is supposed to be. And Ragnarok was already a pretty big movie in terms of where the story was telling. Didn't have time to do all that. Got to show them one of these colors.
So, the ultimate question. Will you see the Wolverine movie with him in a relationship with Hercules?
I don't think Disney. They're not going to go. They're not going to go that route. I think there are portions of the James Howlett Earth 12,025 that they actually might work in the MCU. They're already kind of going down that route because they're not going to use adamantium. They're using they might be using Antarctic vibranium.
Oh gosh. I hope they don't.
Or is it called Antarctic? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, the Antarctic vibranium. I really hope they don't.
Because the word adamantium hasn't come up yet, and Feige seems so gung-ho about being different from Fox. They may not use the word adamantium at all. The Howlett that we're talking about today, he doesn't use adamantium. He uses adamantine. It's the
metal of the gods.
Metal of the gods. Like I think Hercules is mallet that he's used inside of in Marvel Comics. It's made of that stuff. It's gold in color. So Wolverine's walking around with gold nearly unbreakable claws instead of silvery platinum colored adamantium claws. So and it comes with its own drawbacks and pluses. Because it's magical, it blocks psionic. You can't read his mind. A telepath can't read his mind, or at least it's as hard to read his mind as, let's say, Gambit. It's just like static and interference and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's as heavy as adamantium. This version of Wolverine's also a lot taller than, if you see pictures of him and set next to Hercules, who's supposed to be like 6'5", he's only a couple inches shorter than Hercules. So
yeah, unless that's a oversight, they didn't. Unless they did some Murata stuff and just didn't really care about height, just cared about aesthetic. But I don't know, dude. Look at this. Wolverine might be a sexually fluid mutant in a throuple. Deal
Oh, dear.
with it.
What? No, Vice, shut up. I mean, we are kind of dealing with that in the comic books between him, Cyclops, and Jean. There's more of a hint to that. It's kind of explicitly
It's hinted. And
there's
that's the
no
thing.
doors between their bedrooms, man.
That's the thing.
So and how buddy characteristically Wolverine and Cyclops are, which in the past they have had common ground several times. Like they don't hate each other, they just disagree with each other fiercely, especially during following the what was it called Schism, when they were on Utopia and Utopia was attacked by the giant Sentinel, and Cyclops took some of the students to go defend the island because the X-Men were away, which in my opinion wasn't a big deal. It kind of made sense. It's either fight or die. But Wolverine was upset that he did that, and they got into a big old blowout. And that's when they separated from Utopia and the Jean Grey school. Which again, I was on Cyclops' side on that. It made sense. I mean, what were you supposed to do? Just sit there and let them, eradicate us? So,
yeah, I just remember a panel where I can't remember exactly, but it was Wolverine and Cyclops working kind of together and it showed that Wolverine was less of a leadership role and Cyclops was more the leader, and Wolverine trusted Cyclops to take on that leadership role.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. I think Wolverine would be the first to admit that he's not a quote unquote leader. He has leadership qualities, but in terms of coming up, being the guy that everyone looks to, that's not him. He's he can be that, but he's way more of the loner type,
But yeah, I will make a decision if they make this movie and they make Wolverine gay. I'll just have to wait for the Chinese version. Because they'll edit that shit out real fast.
It's possible, but I don't think that's the deal. I don't think that's the case. If any of the characters, you can pretty much call out any other character, and that's a possibility. Wolverine is probably not, unless it's a focus of one of those what if episodes that they're trying to put on Disney Plus. I don't see that happening in the feature film. Not with Wolverine. Maybe Storm, maybe Jean, or Sunfire. I don't see them doing that kind of change to Wolverine based on James Howlett from Earth 12,025. I just don't see that as an option when in terms of we're trying to make money without being weighed down by all this pandering foolishness. And they won't even call it that. It's just I think it's too hard of a sell for Wolverine. Matter of fact, this version of James Howlett, come on, he wasn't even in any main X-Men book. There's this Extreme X-Men, that version of Extreme X-Men, it's not the one that Chris Claremont wrote back in 1999-2000. This was written by Greg Pak at the at the beginning of the 2000s, and it was a satellite book at best. That's why it got canceled. It was a satellite book. No one really, it wasn't a bad read, but it wasn't exactly tearing up the stands.
Yeah, because okay. Little caveat on my end. I read the X-Men not for the story, unfortunately. The story is what was secondary to me. The first thing that got me was the art. When Jim Lee was doing it, when Mark Texeira, John Romita Jr., all of those artists were coming on board to animate the X-Men. Yeah, that's pretty much when I was on board.
Yeah,
Andy Kubert,
God damn. Everything, like basically 1990 to about 98 was such a dope era, especially that Age of Apocalypse era when they who was doing the majority of that?
That was Andy.
Yeah, Andy Kubert.
Yeah.
Yeah, geez, that was so. I need to go. I've been putting it off. I'm gonna go buy that omnibus from a comic book store. Just gonna bite the bullet before someone else buys it before I get there and pisses me off. I'm gonna buy that paperweight.
But then, yeah, when I would read those books, the story would be second. If the story was great, then I would. They had this wonderful tendency of, if the story was good, they would have a good artist to put with it. I especially liked when the Wolverine solo title, when he had just lost his adamantium.
Right.
And he was palling around with some MI6 agent with short. That's probably the one you're talking about. The short redhead.
No, she
short
was. This one I'm talking about. She popped up in around I would say early 2010s for the Wolverine was trying to figure out. It's a long story. He was trying to figure out the origins of his powers and the different types of mutants like him. They were considered lupins or something like that. Him, Sabretooth, Feral, or I think Feral ended up being killed by Sabretooth, and it was during the Wolverine. It was in the Wolverine solo series, and yeah, I forgot. I have it here. I just don't remember the name of her or the person they were fighting against. But it was a long story, but it was great read.
Yeah, because the last. That was all Andy Kubert, the one that I read, and he was getting chased down by Albert and LCD, and Bloodscream had joined them to hunt Wolverine down. And then I guess Jubilee was still palling around with Wolverine at that point as well. But yeah, the artwork and the storyline that was going along with that was just dynamic enough to keep me going in those books. And then, Age of Apocalypse happened, and then I didn't have any money to buy all this.
Yeah, they really did kind of stick it. Like, it was a great story, but if you didn't have about back then even $10 to $15 a month to drop it at a comic store to get every title, to see every tie-in. I mean, they were nice enough to do one book where if you read that one book, you can follow what's happening. But if you really wanted to, keep up with what was happening in that crazy world, you had to be reading Extraordinary X-Men. You had to be reading X-Men and Gambit and the Externals and Generation Next and Weapon X and what else was there? But yeah, it was pretty. It was a interesting little. I think it was the first time anyone ever did anything like that. Where we're changing the timeline and we're having it affect you too.
But yeah, it was a great title. I'm sorry that I missed out on a lot of it because it was all like $8.99 up to get one of those damn foil covers.
I got two of them.
Damn fucking egg.
I think it's from Amazing X-Men. I have an X-Men Omega, so which was like another tie-in book. They had a bunch of tie-in books. The omnibus is about 4 to 5 inches thick, and it's got stuff in there I've never read before. So,
anyway, and then one last question. I'm gonna say that if they do make Wolverine gay, they're gonna go broke. Not broke, but it's not gonna make as much money as they would hope. If they dive into it,
it's gonna have the legs aren't gonna. It's gonna have a big opening. It's not gonna have the legs that a normal title would. That's just I think that's the case. I don't think it's gonna stop anybody from seeing it once, but repeat. I'm sure there will be, but the vast majority of the audience may not. It's about connecting with your audience, and everyone doesn't connect with that. Enough to want to watch it over and over and over again. So I think they'll make less money, and that will probably lead to a slight course correction. But again, I really don't think they're going to do that with Wolverine. I think we should be asking who of the X-Men is going to be, going to be changed to a homosexual, or at least embrace it. Storm is kind of fluid. There's a couple characters that have been well, not kind of, but have been made fluid over the past couple years, like Iceman.
Iceman.
So that there, didn't make a lot of sense. There are a lot of characters they could have done that to. It would have made more sense. Iceman is one of the more active, romantically active X-Men there were. And you can say, yeah, some people are very much appear to be heterosexual and then later life come out as homosexual. The difference between that and Iceman is we've been seeing his thought bubbles and narrative boxes for the past 50 years, and it's never come up. So that's a problem. It was kind of forced. And then the way they did it with Jean kind of just telling him that he is was like, wow. Okay.
No, it's I remember what was it, X3 or X2? One of those, X2 or X3. X2.
Describe it. I'll tell you which one it was.
He was in a relationship with Rogue.
From X1 all the way up. Yeah.
Yeah. X3, he starts flirting with Shadowcat.
Correct.
At what point in the comic books does Jean reveal to Bobby that, hey, you're gay?
It happened during the all different X-Men, all new X-Men era when the time to space X-Men were in the present. She would they after a big fight, she got Bobby alone, and he made a joke, and she kind of like said, "Bobby, you know that's not how you feel," and he's like, "Yes, it is." She's like, "No, it's not." It's like, "Yes, it is." He's like, "Bobby, you're gay," and there was like a pause, and it's like. And it was also weird. It was a Bendis written. It was Bendis. It was a Bendis script. So there you go.
Okay, Bendis was 2011.
He was. I'm not sure. Was it 11? I'm not. It was at the cusp of all new, all different. When that era started, is when he jumped in. Right, Bendis jumped in right after X-Men, Avengers versus X-Men. He wrote Uncanny. And he wrote an all new X-Men or something like that.
All right, so all new, all different X-Men, 2013.
2013. That's an all new different.
2006.
Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is about this a little trivia. The actor that played Iceman, Ashmore, and the actor that played Shadowcat, forgot her name all of a sudden. They're both LGBTQ.
I know.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny.
The irony.
Like wow. And actually, in both characters in the comic books, there's a segment of fans that think Shadowcat is also homosexual.
I remember being in the theater, and one of my gay friends was just drooling over Sean Ashmore. When he saw him with a beard in Days of Future Past.
One of probably the best X-Men movie.
And he started crying in the chair when he saw Ashmore
die,
eat it with one of the Sentinels. Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, but yeah, I just don't think they're going to do it to Wolverine. I think any other character is fair game. I don't think it's Wolverine. He's too much of a focus that I don't think they're going to take that chance with the franchise. Just me personally. I don't think it's going to be a backlash. I just don't think it's going to be, something that they're going to chance making less money on, or have not resonate with the fans the way they want it to, or it lose mass appeal. Like for instance, there's probably little chance that a character being heterosexual is going to be a problem for anyone. But someone being homosexual, there's a chance that it might be a problem for a segment of fans, and they're not going to do that with Wolverine. I think anyone else, fair game. Just I don't think it's going to happen with Wolverine.
Well, these are our thoughts on everything that's going on in the mutant world, guys. Thanks for joining us for the Monday morning Mutant Mumblings live stream. This has been my compatriot and mutant knowledge extraordinaire, an encyclopedia of mutant knowledge, Philip Pratt. Just plug yourself. Where can people find you? And I don't know how to do this damn one screen thing.
I'm always on Twitter, same handle here, Pratt LP. I like talking. I don't like arguing. So if you want to argue, you can find someone else. I'll probably just mute you. Won't block you. I'll mute you though. But you can always find me there. Other than that, I should be putting on an article today about the possibility of the MCU tapping the likes of Pete Wisdom for
Ooh.
into their films and whatnot. If you not know, Pete Wisdom has some connections that are already in the pipeline for Marvel at the moment. He works right now. He works for MI13, and under his command is the Black Knight. And where is the Black Knight showing up? Eternals. So,
Is he?
yeah, or well, he's gonna show up eventually.
Well, okay, cool. We have that to look forward to. And then, you know me, I've got some videos coming out later this week. Eventually, I'm going to have rumors and speculation up. It's just been a busy weekend with everything opening back up. So I've been gone, but we will get rumors and speculation. Episode 11? Episode 12, probably. We'll get it up, and then on Thursday, we are going to have the Therapy Thursdays where you can air your shit out, make sure your ass is clean, and begin the healing process. And on Wednesdays, we have our Bounding live stream. We go on at 6 o'clock ish. So yeah, look for us there. We do have a fun time talking about shit, and dude, with everything that's going on right now, I think we just need to laugh at it. Just if they make Wolverine gay, I'm just gonna watch the movie once and just laugh and just, oh, okay, well, that's how it's going, huh? But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. Supreme Heretic, Drew. Beware the Drew. He's got his Pegasus Actual podcast on Thursdays. He's also with us on the Wednesday night Bounding live stream. Toxic Man Flu, you can see him in the chats. He is constantly trying to throw all the streamers off their game with dick jokes. And then our man up here, Demon King of Inferno, Lopter, you can see him in the chats as well, talking about things of hell and that nature. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us again, and we will see you on Wednesday.
Feel better, Drew.
Ah, there he is. Yeah.